It begins with the kind of worry that turns an ordinary apartment into a pressure cooker. Archie is supposed to be away at a lodge convention, but nobody can reach him. Hours pass, then more hours, and the family's anxiety grows teeth. Gloria keeps calling the convention headquarters in Buffalo, and every time the answer comes back the same. No sign of him. It lands like a new punch. Edith is frantic in a quieter way, moving around the home as if she can keep fear under control by staying busy. Michael tries to sound rational, but even he can't ignore the fact that Archie's disappearance doesn't fit the usual pattern. It feels off. It feels wrong. It feels like something could have happened. And the hardest part is that there's no information to fight the panic with. They go to the police station, expecting urgency, and instead meet procedure. They're told they have to wait before a missing persons report can be filed. That delay becomes its own kind of torment, because in a family crisis, time isn't just minutes ticking by. It's imagination running wild. The police float the possibility that many missing men have run off with someone else. The suggestion is meant to be practical, but it hits this family like a shockwave. Gloria, who sees her father as stubborn and old-fashioned but loyal, rejects the idea immediately. Edith rejects it too, though with a strange softness, as if she can't bring herself to picture Archie choosing another life. But once the idea has been spoken out loud, it doesn't leave the room. It becomes a shadow that follows every conversation. Back at home, they search for clues the way frightened people do, grabbing at anything that might turn confusion into a storyline. Michael looks through Archie's old belongings, trying to build what he calls a profile, and the exercise becomes both absurd and unsettling. Old souvenirs, old photos, little scraps of Archie's life that feel meaningless until you're desperate enough to treat them like evidence. The family tries to interpret everything. What Archie kept, what he valued, what it might say about his state of mind. It's not a real investigation, so much as a family trying to hold on to control. When there's no phone call, no location, no certainty, you start believing a baseball photo or a clipped newspaper item might be the secret map to the truth. Then a coworker from Archie's plant, Stretch Cunningham, arrives with the kind of casual humor that doesn't match the seriousness of the situation. He means well, but his comedy only irritates Gloria because she's too tense to laugh. Stretch claims Archie was looking forward to the convention and even made jokes about it. But then he drops a detail that changes the emotional temperature. Archie has been openly admiring a woman at work, Mildred Boom Boom Turner, a receptionist known for her striking presence. Stretch describes Archie's attention in a way that makes Gloria recoil. Michael, always ready to follow the most dramatic possibility, immediately turns it into a theory. Maybe Archie ran off with Boom Boom. At first, it sounds ridiculous. Archie is Archie. Loud, rigid, often judgmental, not exactly the kind of man you picture pulling off a secret romance. But fear does a strange thing. It makes even ridiculous ideas feel possible. Gloria calls the plant. She calls again. She's told Boom Boom is sick. Then the story shifts, and soon it sounds like Boom Boom isn't even home. The more uncertainty they encounter, the more the affair theory expands, because it fills the empty space where facts should be. Edith, heartbreakingly, reacts in a way that's both naive and oddly hopeful. She almost prefers the idea that Archie is with another woman because at least then she would know where he is. The unknown is more terrifying than the insult. The affair suspicion grows teeth when they find pictures. Archie standing beside Boom Boom, smiling, close enough to create a story. More pictures appear, and suddenly the family feels like it's discovering a secret life. Gloria is torn between denial and dread. Michael pushes the logic forward with the bluntness of someone who believes uncomfortable truth is better than comforting fiction. Edith tries to stay loyal, but you can feel the fear pressing on her chest. What if Archie really did choose someone else? What if he really did leave? Not for danger, not for an accident, but for desire? Then Boom Boom herself shows up, and the entire fantasy collapses in a single burst of reality. She's irritated, confused, and offended that everyone has been calling her mother and treating her like the center of a scandal. She makes it clear she has her own life and a boyfriend, and she's not secretly hiding Archie Bunker. The photos, she explains, were essentially Archie's doing, him jumping into shots, turning moments into souvenirs, creating the illusion of closeness without anything actually happening. Gloria and Michael are forced to face what they've done. They build a story out of panic. Edith feels relief, but it's a complicated relief because the core problem remains. If Archie isn't with Boom Boom, then where is he? And then, finally a call comes. Archie is alive. Archie is fine. And the explanation for his disappearance is so Archie-like, it almost becomes its own punchline. He missed the bus, took a plane, ended up at the wrong place, tangled in mix-ups, drinks, misunderstandings, and a bizarre chain of events that somehow turned him into a temporary important person in someone else's convention world. What felt like a tragedy from the family's perspective turns out to be a misadventure from Archie's perspective. The family's 2 days of terror meet Archie's 2 days of chaotic wandering, and the emotional mismatch is almost comical until you see Edith's face and remember that the fear was real, even if the reason was silly. Archie returns, and the household tries to reset to normal. That reset comes with a new round of domestic chaos. Michael attempts to fix a toilet, the kind that keeps running unless you manually handle the floating mechanism. The repair turns into yet another argument about competence, responsibility, and the exhausting reality of living together. It's one of those classic household battles where the object, something as simple as a toilet, becomes a symbol for deeper frustrations. Then Archie experiences what he believes is a life-saving moment at work. A heavy crate falls where he had been sitting, and he narrowly avoids injury because he moved at the last second. For Archie, it isn't luck. It's a sign. It's divine intervention. He becomes convinced that a higher power warned him, protected him, and spared his life. And with that belief comes a sudden transformation. Archie declares he's going to be more religious, more committed, more grateful. He calls the Reverend. He promises donations. He promises church attendance. He announces, with all the seriousness of a man who believes he has been given a second chance, that he's turning a new page. The family reacts in layers. Edith is proud and moved, seeing it as a miracle that has softened Archie's heart. Gloria is skeptical, but wants to believe the change might be real. Michael is openly doubtful, convinced this is just Archie responding emotionally to a close call, and that it won't last. The home becomes a debate stage. Faith versus skepticism, miracle versus coincidence. Archie insists the event proves something bigger than physics. Michael insists it proves only that chance can be terrifying. The argument isn't only about religion, it's about control. Archie wants the universe to have meaning, because meaning makes fear bearable. Michael wants the universe to be rational, because rationality makes fear manageable. They're both trying to survive the same truth. Death can come close without warning, and nobody gets to negotiate with it. Archie's religious phase becomes theatrical in a way only Archie can manage. He insists on grace before meals, even if the family isn't used to it. He tries to sound devout while still being himself, half sincere, half performative, proudly dramatic. He frames everything through his new lens. Good fortune is proof of divine favor, while trouble becomes evidence that the universe is teaching lessons. His newfound piety is genuine enough to create real change, at least for a while, but it also makes him insufferable in new ways. Archie doesn't become gentle, he becomes convinced. And conviction, when mixed with his personality, turns into a loud, stubborn kind of righteousness. He keeps attending church. He keeps giving money. He starts believing he's being rewarded for his devotion. And then he buys a raffle ticket, convinced his lucky number will deliver him a prize, specifically a color television. The ticket becomes more than a ticket. It becomes a test of faith. Archie treats it as a sign that he's aligned with destiny now. When he loses, frustration erupts. It's a quiet, revealing moment. Archie can accept God saved me, but he struggles to accept God didn't give me what I wanted. The disappointment exposes the fragile edge of his new religious identity. Is his faith gratitude, or is it a bargain? Is he thankful, or is he expecting rewards? Then comes the practical consequence of promises. Archie is asked to drive a church bus for seniors on Sunday afternoon, exactly when he wants to be watching football. The request forces Archie to confront what commitment means. It's easy to pledge devotion when it's symbolic. It's harder when devotion costs you something you actually want. Archie agrees, then immediately resents the agreement. His piety collides with his habits. His new life collides with kickoff time. And just when he's trapped by responsibility, a tempting offer appears. Tickets to the Jets game from Stretch. The universe is testing him again, except this time the test isn't spiritual, it's personal. Archie tries to wriggle out of the church bus obligation, then injures his foot in a household mishap. The injury becomes an excuse, and for a moment, it looks like he might be freed from his promise. But even the injury doesn't go the way he wants, because he quickly recovers in a way that undercuts the excuse. His faith narrative becomes tangled. If he's suddenly better, is that another miracle, or just inconvenient timing? By the end of this stretch, the household has been through a full emotional cycle. Terror, suspicion, humiliation, relief, and then a new existential fear transformed into a religious phase that produces both comedy and conflict. Archie's disappearance shows how panic creates stories when facts are missing. His close call at work shows how fear makes people search for meaning. The family caught in the middle doesn't become perfectly wise, but they do become deeply human. Loving, flawed, sarcastic, frightened, hopeful, and always one unexpected phone call away from a new kind of chaos.